I'd like to call to order the regular session number 23, March 18th, Raytown Board of Aldermen meeting. It is just a little bit past 7 o'clock. I understand that we will not be televising live tonight, but it will be broadcast eventually here as soon as we get the channel running and deals worked out with Comcast. So it will be on the TV, but just not tonight apparently. So with that, I'm going to call Ms. Sue Kloss to the podium to deliver the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Sue, thank you.
Would you pray with me? Father God, we come to you this evening with humble hearts and thanksgiving for the changing of the seasons, the changing of our lives, and for all the promises and blessings you give us. We ask your special blessings tonight, guidance on all those here tonight doing the business of our city. Be with each one here tonight doing what needs to be done, and then safely home at the conclusion of this meeting. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. I ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Alderman Lightfoot.
Excused.
Alderman Mock.
Here.
Alderman Van Buskirk.
Here.
Alderman Ertz.
Here.
Alderman Melson.
Excused.
Alderman Emerson.
Here.
Alderman Jason Green.
Here.
Alderman Azier.
Here.
Alderman Josh Green.
Here.
Alderman Kramer.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. This time we're going to open the floor up to public comments. I don't have anything indicating there's been anyone sign up to deliver public comments. We're going to move on with the agenda. Communication from the mayor. A lot of things going on. We had a meeting, I was able to attend the Rotary meeting last week. That was always a fun time to sit with those folks. Certainly eventful, certainly thought-provoking topics discussed at that meeting. A good time. I also want to point out that the Rice Tremonti Home will be having their Spring Soup and Crafts Day Saturday and Sunday, March 22nd and 23rd from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., 8801 East 66th Street in Raytown, the Rice Tremonti Home. That's always a fun event, and it certainly helps a good cause, so I would encourage people to get out for that. Mr. Lothry, in Mahesh's absence, do you have anything to report, sir?
I don't have anything to report. We will have a study session.
Okay. We'll move to committee reports. So start on my left, Mr. Mock.
Yeah, Council on the Aging will be meeting this Thursday, the 20th, at 4:15. And one other thing is, April 19th will be the egg extravaganza this year. So you'll hear more to come. Thanks.
Mr. Van Buskirk.
Mr. Mayor, as Vice Chair of the Legislative Committee in the absence of Mr. Lightfoot, just wanted to make everyone aware that Mr. Sharma and Mr. Benson, myself, went to Jeff City on March 6th on behalf of our city to participate in a hearing before a House subcommittee on House Bill 1829, which could be very beneficial to our city if it passes. Representative McDonald is assisting us with that and doing a great job of doing that. We appreciate his efforts and the other legislators in the area. I did testify before the House committee, and I think this may be very favorable for us. Mr. Richard Sheet from the Missouri Municipal League also testified, and I think this is absolutely going the right direction. And to add to the Rice Tremonti thing, my wife is baking some pies for that, and she's a great cook, so I would highly recommend it.
All right, there you go. Mr. Ertz.
Thank you. Police Pension had a meeting last Wednesday. Everything went well. We had the review of last year, and as years have gone lately, it's one of the better years lately. Remember, the police pension will still exist as long as there's still people in that pension. New officers will be going into the loggers plan, but the city will still be helping and managing this fund for a while. So on the other agenda was the Parks Department. The Super Splash Governance Committee, we would like to meet again, and I believe there'll be a memo coming out on April 9th at 6 o'clock at the Parks Department. We're going to review their business plan. They're going to present to us a PowerPoint presentation at that evening there, and of course, everybody's welcome, and as everything is, it's open to the public. I'm looking for some exciting things, an exciting year at Super Splash, and it looks like we've got some news coming out here too about it, so.
Pat, you said April 9th. That's a Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, yes.
Okay.
That's the way I got it. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Everson?
No report at this time, thank you.
Mr. Green? No reports?
No report this time.
Any other committee reports? I have not. Would you like to? Go ahead. Mr. Van Buskirk offered first. You guys quit fighting over it and just make the...
Well, as all the citizens will be receiving a copy of the Parks Department's program in the City of Raytown newsletter, and thank you, Brenda Gustafson, for the great job in doing this. I haven't got to read it all yet, but so far what I've seen has been very good. And if I am right, there might even be a valuable coupon in here that citizens can use so the citizens can perhaps get a discount that perhaps others do not get. So thank you.
And as a wonderful segue to that, we will dispense with committee reports. We'll move straight to the study session and our public relations communication update from Brenda Gustafson, our public information officer.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank the Board of Aldermen for giving me this opportunity to update you on the Integrated Strategic Communication Plan. It's been about a little less than a year since we implemented the plan. And there's been a lot of changes that have happened since then for the city. I do want to start with the fact that within the plan, and the reason we call it integrated is because we are bringing other areas in. This is not just communicating about the city, but we're also looking at doing things to help our business and liquor license community feel part of the city. We've been working with the chamber to give out more information. I've been giving them monthly articles and writing articles for them about social media and business, and trying to do more from the city to help business in a broader range. We also gave lunch and learns, spoke at chamber luncheons, and have done various presentations across the city for businesses to try to make them feel part of our plan. Last May, this board made some changes in the license ordinance that I just wanted to update you on. Isn't all part of communications, but I thought you might be interested in what has happened since we made those changes. In craftsman licenses, we're up 44% in the number of craftsman licenses. But what we have done with craftsman license is before, if you did a job in Raytown, let's say May 6th, you would pay 1/12 of the price of a business license in Raytown because we prorate, because we had one date that you renewed. When we changed the ordinance, now you have one date from the time that you actually purchase your license. So now that same electrical person will now pay $75, but it'll be good for them for the full year. So before, they may have paid 1/12, and then if the job wasn't done, they had to turn around and buy another license in June for the full price. So it works good for us both ways. And many of the craftsmen only do one-offs. So they come into Raytown, they do business, and then they may not come back into Raytown for 2 years, let's say. But in this way, because of the ordinance change, we get full value of our business license while they're doing business within the city. We also are looking with the new website to have online applications for them. and email notifications. We've been gathering all the email addresses for our businesses so that we can send information out as well as give them renewals online, saving us quite a bit of money in time and the letters that we send out and the mailings. The communication plan is actually designed to get the city's story out, or as what communication professionals call the narrative. Previously, we really didn't have any kind of plan to get our story out. A lot of people depended on rumor and what they heard from their neighbor, and the city didn't actually tell their story. But we wanted everyone, including people outside of Raytown, to understand we have a great city. We have great citizenry, we have easy access to all major highways, great parks, a growing business community, great schools, and many other amenities that we want other people to know about. Having Google Fiber be one of the first businesses to come in that we could announce was a great thing, to be one of the first suburbs to get that. So our goal is to use communication to bring a two-way conversation between City Hall and its constituents, be it our residents, business community, or even people visiting our city. Many of our department heads also work to be inclusive for this city. We have people that sit on boards, belong to, give presentations, or participate in Rotary, Kiwanis, Chamber, Raytown Main Street Association, Cave Springs Park activities, and our own park activities, including Bark in the Park and Kids Day. Our city community has donated time and dollars to food pantries, REAP, Alex's Lemonade Cancer stands for children's cancer, Salvation Army, and Hope Network, just to name a few. Our employees are busy in this city. This year, John Benson, Dave Turner, and I helped Vicki Turnbow initiate a community-wide event calendar. This has been something that has been requested over and over from the residents within Raytown. Because of the restrictive policy, and there's many reasons for that, that we have a restrictive policy for the city's event calendar, we could not put everything on there. So we put together a committee made up of 15 different organizations, including clubs, churches, some businesses, the school district, and with the help of the chamber by donating a website called Think Raytown First, we were able to put together a new event calendar. They go to Think Raytown First. It has a drop-down menu. There are 5 areas that are set up, so 5 subcategories under adult entertainment, kids entertainment, social clubs, government, and events, and then just a regular events calendar. The events calendar is what comes up. You can click on something, it takes you either to the website of the person giving the event, or it will give you just details about the event off of the website. And we have high hopes for this calendar that eventually we may use it to set up some volunteer opportunities or even jobs that in the future, but for right now, this is a great start. Some of the other communication vehicles that we are using include television, newspaper, and radio. The city has this year been represented in all of these mediums. We've had coverage for many items, and I've met my goal of at least 1 press release a week, which also helps stimulate more coverage for us. We've been in the 816 Kansas City Star section 6 times, and that's a wide range of people seeing what's happening. This year, I hope to start doing some PSAs that will include more radio. As you mentioned this week, Raytown's 3rd newsletter will go out, and this newsletter will also hold a program guide for our Parks Department. We were able to offset costs because using Parks Department, we could sell advertising, and we've had a good response to that. And in fact, our newsletter may have to grow in size just to accommodate some of the ads that people have been asking for. Social media is actually where the largest growth in communications has been. Since speaking to you last time, we've added many avenues of social media, and they are not only catching on, but giving us feedback that has been incredibly useful. We have 500 people on our Facebook account now. That's just in about 9 months. That's a pretty good response to just starting a page. And on there, we even use some of the comments from Facebook in the state of the city. I've used some comments from Facebook as well as Twitter in our press releases just to have citizens have a voice in what we're putting in and what we're discussing. Our Twitter, I have 167 followers, which may not sound like very many, but that's every major radio, TV, and newspaper station are following me now. And that took about 3 months for me to get all of those to start following us. So they pick up from what we say, and they put that on TV, or they put that on the radio off of our Twitter account. They don't really follow us on Facebook. It's more on Twitter. Now I'm going to give you a sneak preview of what the new website's going to look like. This is not completed yet. One of the reasons it's taken us so long to get this website changed is because our current website has thousands of pages that are not even available to the public, but we're having to go through there to see what's on there. But the new website, as you'll see, will have several areas that people can be able to hone in on exactly what they want to find. One of the areas that will be on there is How Do I? And we have set the How Do I, we'll set it up in order for people to not only have to use 2 clicks to get to information that they want. 1 click to find out what it is that they want, and then another click that'll take them directly to that information. We also will have a newsroom on this site that will have an RSS feed on, so as we put out information, people will get it immediately. There'll be also ways for people to actually comment and give us their email. So if something's happening, we'll have a bulk email that we can send out. This isn't the exact design. I mean, it's the exact design. It's not exactly what will end up in each of the places that are on the front page. But I think it looks pretty good, and I hope you like it. February 25th, we launched Engage Raytown, which we've had 225 people that have logged on to Engage Raytown. That's faster than any other social media platform that we have used so far as getting people on. And I'm excited because people are giving us ideas, they're uploading photos, they're telling us their thoughts on things. I'm proud of the mayor. He's already responded to somebody on the site. And we've had several people who actually have had a conversation with someone on there. So that's exciting, and I think you're going to see this site actually help us more and more to reach out to the residents of our city. It doesn't have to just be residents. We can actually, anyone in the country can actually log on and be part of Engage Raytown. We've also, thanks to Alderman Green, who requested that we once again start up our YouTube account. We did this about 5 months ago for 4 months, and it really was not viewed. And so we've had some requests for it, so we're starting it up again. I think it's a great thing. If people, it allows people to actually be able to see Board of Aldermen meeting, let's say, at their own leisure. But we really think what's going to come on as far as what we're doing around trying to get people to watch what's going on in the city is to actually do live streaming. And Andy Nola and I are reviewing some options for that because, you know, we could try to get on Uverse, but then we'd have to get on the satellite, then we have to get Dish, and it just Google Fiber, all of those, we'd have to buy their equipment, and it becomes very expensive. And so if we live stream, we can live stream to phones. And everybody has a phone anymore, so that would be even better. Or if they have a computer, they'd be able to watch it live with just a computer. They don't need a program. This year, we'll also be adding Google Plus and LinkedIn. We possibly will do Pinterest. Pinterest is really, it's grown over 4,000% in the last year. But Pinterest, I don't know how many of you are on Pinterest, but Pinterest is actually an interest site. So for the city to actually get on Pinterest, we're going to have to figure out our interest sites that people would want to see what we're putting up. So I'm not sure exactly if we're going to be there yet, but Pinterest may change how they approach things, and we may see that we want to get on Pinterest sometime in the future. Social media is changing so quickly. I know that email, what has been slated in 5 years to actually disappear, people are not going to be using email anymore. I know for a fact that my children do not call me anymore, they text me. And that seems to be where people are going, as opposed to email. They'll actually text or use FaceTime, where you can actually see each other during a phone call. So exciting things are happening for us this year and in public affairs, and I hope this overview gives you at least an idea of where we're headed, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Mock.
Yeah, the newsletter's great for our senior citizens also. How are the other ways where are we reaching out to our senior citizens? Great. I didn't hear
With
too
our
much
senior
about that.
citizens, we actually have been doing, I have been doing things with the Shepherd Center of trying to see what would be helpful to the senior citizens to have from the city. We'd like to get them more involved in volunteer projects and being on our boards, to hear their voice on our boards. Within the actual website, it is ADA compliant, and so it can be enlarged so that senior citizens can have a larger font on it. Same with our Facebook, Twitter also. All of them can be enlarged to help senior citizens who have trouble seeing it smaller.
I know in May we'll be having a senior forum here at City Hall. If we could reach out to you to help us out on that, to, come in, reach out to our seniors that day, or
Absolutely. In fact, it
help
might
us
be
out during the meeting.
kind of fun to see if I can get some of them signed up that day. We have a laptop and sign them up to engage Raytown or
Okay.
onto
Yeah,
Facebook.
another thing that was not mentioned was getting the information out into the sewer bills. I know we can't put the inserts in anymore, but into the memo sections itself.
Mm-hmm.
I know with the, what was it, was coming up this next month? I just went blank on that.
The extravaganza.
That and, yeah, the egg extravaganza, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed we could have been into last month, but that didn't happen. But if, I don't know if you've been contacted about that, or if,
I haven't been contacted about that specifically, but I will tell you we have used the memo section of the sewer bill. You're fairly limited on the number of characters that you can put on there, so you're not going to get a long message. But I'm hoping that the newsletter, and the fact that the newsletter is dropped to every single household in the Raytown School District, not just in Raytown, but Raytown School District, because they use our parks as well.
Yes.
And so a lot of senior citizens, they actually like to hold it. They like to read it. They like to have it in their hand. And so I'm hoping that with the newsletter, which this is only the second time we actually have dropped it into homes, that will help the seniors within our community.
Okay, Brenda, one more question. How many hits have we had on YouTube again?
On YouTube today, well, we've had 5, and the average view time has been 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Other questions? Ms. Burtz.
Also, I believe on the Think Raytown First website that you showed there, There's also a survey that citizens could do about some things you might like in the future. So I'd encourage people to click near the top where it says, it's just a quick, like 5 or 6 questions, but
Yeah, it's easy to
the
fill
Chamber
out.
of
I filled
Commerce
it
would be
out.
very appreciative the more people, the bigger sample we could get on that.
And I like the fact that it's all encompassing, that hits a lot of different areas of the city.
Mr. Asia.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. This is just a possible suggestion. I really like what you've done with the Raytown update on government. Really good.
Thank you.
And this is this our first effort at this?
No, it's actually our third. The first
Third?
one, though, was just electronic. This is our second time to actually drop to households, which we found with the electronic, we got about 125 people viewing it. With this, we actually reach all 12, well, there's 12,000 households in Raytown, and then we do an additional 6,000 within the Raytown School District.
And is this an expansion over the last one you did?
Yes.
It seems like it's bigger, so I
Yes.
really like what you're doing with it. A possible suggestion is that, I know that we have a number of boards that the mayor appoints. For example, we've had a tree board, the Council on Aging. That's something we might list. I wonder if all the people of Raytown realize that we have all those committees out there actually working for them in different ways. Just a suggestion. I don't know if that would be
I
worthwhile.
think it's a great suggestion. Actually, the tree board is highlighted in this
Yeah, I did see
selection, and I usually try to take different parts of the city and highlight them, because we only have 7 pages, I think, to try to cover everything.
Sure.
I think it's a great suggestion, and what we may do next time is just list all the boards and committees that are available throughout the city. I like that idea.
And it fits with Engage Raytown, so.
Pardon?
It fits with the concept Engage Raytown.
Absolutely fits with
So
that.
it shows that we really have a lot of people out there who are actually involved in doing things, and there may be boards that people do not have no awareness of. So thank you very much.
Sure, and I would tell you that on first look at the people that are coming on Engage Raytown, the average age is 49. I was pleasantly surprised about that. I thought that was a pretty good, that we're hitting right in the middle of the age group. We get mostly males. It's about 2 to 1 males to females on Engage Raytown, and the time of day, I don't know if you're interested, but the time of day is typically 10 o'clock at night that we're hearing from people, so.
Sorry that my age probably upset the average attendance.
Is
on
that
it.
what it is?
Yeah, probably so.
But you all have, and maybe at some point I'll help you, but you're all analysts, considered analysts on the site. You have access to all the reports that tell you how many people, what age, what zip code they're coming from. You have access to all of that.
Mr. Kramer.
Yeah, I appreciate the presentation tonight. As Alderman Azier said, this is very professional. I mean, it looks really good.
Thank you.
It addresses what we've got going on in the community, which is something that we haven't had. And, you know, as I was flipping through it and listening to you talk, it talked about Raytown baseball, Raytown softball, all the different things that we got going on in our parks department. And, you know, I think attendance to those things dwindled off, but I think we did, as a community, a poor job of reaching out to people to let people know what we had and were able to offer to them. So it's fantastic. Comments that I've had from people from the first publication were very, very positive, and they liked what they saw. And being it's seasonal, we can put different seasonal things in there. So thank you very much. I appreciate this.
Sure.
Mr. Van Buskirk.
Since we're using all this social media, electronic media, what's the possibility of, you're talking about the YouTube videos of our meetings and how few people had actually viewed those. I'm sure a lot of that is just the fact that people were not aware that we were there. what's the possibility of just adding a link onto some of those electronic media that you're using for, you just put a link to that particular meeting so that people can
We
click on
actually
it?
have a YouTube link on our website. You don't really have links on our on other social media, you don't really link to it, but what I have done is whenever we've uploaded a video, I actually announce it on Facebook more than once. I put it right now, if you look at the front page of our website, and this is what I did before too. So but sometimes it takes a different look at it for it to catch on, but I put on the front of our website that we're now putting our Board of Aldermen meeting on YouTube and put a link on there for that. Twitter, I sent out a link on my tweet saying that YouTube's available for the Board of Aldermen meeting. And I actually added YouTube to the newsletter this time as well.
Do we have a compiled list of emails of citizens that we utilize in any way?
No.
No.
And what we are doing, though, with the new website, we'll be able to capture those.
Good.
People will
And
be able to
that's-
opt in on
Sure.
that.
And if we're sending out an email, obviously, you can send a link to that with it.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of times people look at these things, and if it doesn't stick out at them right away, they're not going to dig down into a website very far, chances are, to find anything. So, but that'd be great if the more that gets out there, the better.
Yeah, we'll promote it more so that people know.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Anything else? Well done.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I know that I also was, I sat in as Brenda made a presentation of the chamber last fall, I think it was, on where we're at as far as electronic communication goes as well, and it was quite impressive. I'm glad that we as a city, as a city government, are helping to move that along, and I think, Brenda, you've done a great job with the many different social media opportunities we have, so thank you. Okay, that concludes the study session. We're going to move to the legislative session at this time. We've got just the one item on the consent agenda. That would be the approval of the meeting minutes from the previous meeting.
Move to approve.
Mr. Mock's got the motion to approve, seconded by Mr. Kramer. Any discussion before we vote? Call the vote on the consent agenda, please.
Alderman Mock,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green. Yes. Alderman Azier,
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green,
Yes.
Alderman Emerson,
Yes.
Alderman Ertz,
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk.
Yes.
Very good. Move to the regular agenda and ask the clerk to perform the reading on item number 2, please.
A resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds for audiovisual equipment and supplies from Digital Alley, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $34,920 for fiscal year 2013-2014.
Chief, anything you'd like to add, or perhaps Captain Michelle Rogers?
Again, it's a resolution, we're requesting approval for $15,000 to spend with Digital Ally, a single vendor, as their sole source vendor for cameras and data storage. This was presented to Sales Tax Oversight Committee for review, and it was found to be consistent with the voter intent. It is a budgeted item, and again, it's for $34,920. Questions?
Mr. Ertz, question?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Ertz got the motion approved, seconded by Mr. Mock. Discussion before we vote on this item. Ms. Emerson?
Thank you. I just want to say that I think these units are excellent. I was instrumental in helping design them, so I have a favoritism to them, but they definitely help the police as well as citizens because the true picture is right there and there's no dispute.
Are you
Thank
planning to abstain from voting then?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Van Buskirk?
Do we currently have cameras on all of the units where we're adding the additional ones, or?
Yes, they're currently on all our marked police units, and this is the replacement of 9. We upgraded last year we upgraded 7 marked units, and this year we're upgrading 9, which will include the upgrade project.
Okay. I guess my follow-up question is, what do we do with the old ones when we dispose of them? What happens?
We trade them in, and they do give us a bit of a refund for that.
Very good.
Yes.
That's a good answer. Fantastic. Okay. Just can't pass up the opportunity to mention that this is coming from, what funds is coming from, Chief?
It's
Capital.
Capital sales tax, which, by the way, we will be up for renewal in April. Thank you.
Any further discussion before we vote? Mr. Green?
I was just curious what the expected life of these are.
Well, we started with Digital Alley back in 2007. They were our first in-car cameras, and we didn't have to replace any of them until last year. So they also have a 2-year warranty, and they're really good customer support and, providing us with any type of support that we need. And so they really are very, very durable.
Okay. I mean, I was just curious, just
Sure.
in general. Thanks.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions or comments? We do have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Call the vote, please.
Alderman Ertz,
Yes.
Alderman Mock,
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green,
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green,
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk,
You want to pass? Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Azier. Yes. Alderman Emerson.
I must abstain because I had part in it.
Pardon?
She's abstaining.
I had to abstain because I helped design the unit.
All right.
Motion passes. Ask clerk to perform the reading on item number 3, please.
A resolution authorizing and approving the purchase of a 2014 F-150 truck from Dick Smith Ford off the Mid-America Council of Public Procurement joint vehicle bid and related safety equipment from Guerin Marketing in a total amount not to exceed $22,000.
Our Public Works Director, Andy Nolan, anything to add, sir?
Yes, just a few things. This is the first of 3 purchases that will be coming forward tonight for vehicles. This first one is for an F-450 that we currently utilize is aging. Repairs continue to go up. Rust is an issue with this vehicle. We've looked at the actual tasks that we perform with this vehicle, determined that it's best to utilize an F-150 because it can perform the tasks we need, should be more economical as well. So we do want to go forward with the F-150. We also included safety lighting. We feel there's never too much safety lighting on a vehicle when you're on the road with as many distractions that are in place. And then we asked for a couple of $100 over our quotes, just in case we need to add an extra light or a light isn't available once we get there. Because by the time we get the quotes, go through the Sales Tax Oversight Committee, which we have brought this before the Sales Tax Oversight Committee, there is always the possibility that something has been discontinued and there's something else available and it's $5 difference or $10 difference. I really don't anticipate hundreds of dollars, but 22,000 was just a round number from the 21,763. So that's why we're asking for that minor extra authorization. Here to ask for your approval. Here to answer any questions as well.
Mr. Van Buskirk.
How many miles or hours do we have on that existing vehicle?
That existing vehicle is right around 90,000 miles on that existing vehicle. And rust is really becoming the biggest issue with that particular vehicle.
Okay. Thank you. And that is coming from Dick Smith Ford, is that correct?
Yes, they were the low bidder when we consider the options that we want on the F-150. And it is through the Mid-American, hold on here, the MACPP. It's a purchasing cooperative where 10 entities pool together their resources and identify the trucks and vehicles that they would like to have bids placed on. And then one of those 10 entities leads that bid. This year, that was the Independence, Missouri.
Thank you.
Mr. Mock.
Yeah, I stopped by Public Works today to take a look at the F-450. And yeah, when you say rust, yes, it did have quite a bit of rust to it. The F-150 pickup truck, will you be using that for snow removal?
Yes, this will be utilized for the beet juice distributor, where we put the beet juice in a tank, and then we'll put this tank in the back of the F-150. It will be at the maximum of its capacity, but we will utilize it in our snow removal efforts.
And we should be done this year, hopefully.
I hope so.
Okay.
Mr. Green, Mr. Jason Green.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm assuming that all the trucks we're replacing this evening, the old ones will be all purple waved out, if you will.
That is correct.
Okay.
Once we actually get the replacement in, everything checks out, everything's fine, then we'll bring it back before the board to deemed as surplus, and then use that auction service to dispose of that
What I
property.
figured. All right, thank you.
Well, it's kind of open you to offer a motion on that, Mr. Green. Nice. Mr. Kramer's got the motion to approve, seconded by Josh Green. Any further discussion? Call the vote, please.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green?
Yes.
Alderman Azier?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Alderman Emerson?
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk?
Yes.
Ask clerk to perform the reading on item number 4, please.
A resolution authorizing and approving the purchase of a 2014 F-550 truck from Dick Smith Ford off the Mid-America Council of Public Procurement joint vehicle bid and related equipment from American Equipment Company in a total amount not to exceed $75,000.
Mr. Knoll, anything to add, sir?
This is very similar to the previous one. This is an F-450 getting replaced with an F-550, so it can better perform those snow operations that we need. This particular item, most of the cost is for the additional equipment to be installed with hydraulics, a plow, a bed, and then a salt spreader on it. The installation and purchase of those are actually more than the truck body or the truck itself. That is $34,000. We went before the Sales Tax Oversight Committee. They did deem this meets the intent of the sales tax. I'm here to answer any other questions you may have.
Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Emerson?
Thank you. This will just be used for snow removal, is this correct?
No, it will be used year-round, but we include the plow and the spreader because it will be utilized as well for snow removal.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kramer?
Is that, and I didn't notice when I was reading through it, and I just thought of it, is that going to be a Cat diesel, or is that going to be a Cummins, or what?
This is actually going to be a V10 gasoline engine with the hopes of in the future converting to utilize propane. It has, we've included with the options is the $300 option for gaseous fuel prep is one of those items. So we do intend on utilizing propane on this vehicle in the future.
Do we feel like propane's going to be adequate on this? I don't know. Being a car guy, I don't know the volatility of propane or stuff like that.
We're very confident with that gaseous fuel prep that we will not harm the vehicle in any manner by utilizing propane. It is intended to run on propane or natural gas.
So has it been done on other vehicles anywhere in the nation this size, or?
Yes, they utilize this particular motor in a lot of the smaller buses that run around throughout the area. So it's a lot of ATA and sort of like the circulator bus that is running around Raytown, that travels through Raytown. That size of vehicle utilizes it a lot, and vans utilize this same V10 quite a bit. So it's been tried and tested, so it works well.
Well, I know in the past, and being an ex-Ford service manager, they had problems with blowing spark plugs out of one. I believe it was the number 5 cylinder, and so the whole V10 thing concerns me. Okay. Unless they've come up with a remedy with that to.
I would think at this time frame in this engine's life, they've probably addressed that issue at this point. So.
Okay. Well, if you feel confident with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Motion's been made and seconded, made by Mr. Kramer, a long one before Mr. Ertz jumped in as a second, but we've got a motion and a second. Discussion, Mr. Mock.
I do have a question. How many F-450 trucks does Public Works have?
We have 2 now, and hopefully in a couple of months, we won't have any.
Okay. All right. Now, I saw 2 F-450s in the parking lot today. And I was just, maybe is there a 550 that you have there?
Yeah, we have, I believe it's, I forget the exact number of 550s that we have. I believe it's 4.
Okay.
This will make 5.
Okay, because I saw a newer 550, then I thought, okay. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Van Buskirk, anything you'd like to point out or ask any questions? You sure? All right. All right. Any other questions? Any discussion? We've got a motion and a second. No further discussion. I ask the clerk to call the vote, please.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green?
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk?
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green?
Yes.
Alderman Azier?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes.
Alderman Emerson?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 5, please.
A resolution authorizing and approving the purchase of a 2014 F-150 truck from Dick Smith Ford off the Mid-America Council of Public Procurement joint vehicle bid and related safety equipment from Guerin Marketing in a total amount not to exceed $24,000.
Mr. Knoll, anything to add, sir?
Yes, we worked with Development and Public Affairs. They need to replace the Dodge Dakota truck. And we have more experience in specifying and procuring the vehicle, so we agreed to do this for them with their input. This is slightly different from the F-150 that Public Works is purchasing. This is actually a extended cab model, so it is slightly more expensive. With that extra cab space, they need it for paperwork and other items that they carry around with them in the cab that they said would be beneficial to them, make their job easier, make them more effective. So that's mainly the difference, and they have a couple of fewer lights on their vehicle than what we have on the F-150, but we feel that there's plenty of lighting on there so that they can stay safe if they need to stop in the roadway for any particular reason. We did bring this before the Capital Sales Tax Oversight Committee, or the Sales Tax Oversight Committee, and they did approve it, say it met the intent of the sales tax. Once the vehicle is procured, we will surplus this vehicle and sell the Dodge Dakota on online auction service. Here to answer any other questions you may have.
Before I go to that, I'm going to ask Mr. Lothry, and I apologize for catching you off guard on this, but a couple of times tonight we've mentioned the Sales Tax Oversight Committee. Would you elaborate, sir, for the general public what that is and how we perform? I think that's an excellent opportunity to thank those that are on the panel, and then also to let the citizens know that their tax dollars are being watched over.
Sure. Each of our special sales tax that we have in place, any purchases, capital purchases, have to go through the Oversight Committee. They review them, make sure they meet the intent of the sales tax, and then they give their recommendation, and then it comes before the board for approval. Anything that's operational in nature, they review those as well as part of the budget, and then also as a wrap-up at the end of the year. And we do an annual report card that then they review and approve, rating how the city performed based on what the intent of the sales tax was. And every year we've received A-pluses on that report. So they meet on a quarterly basis or on a special needs basis.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, any questions or comments from Mr. Knoll? Mr. Azier?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Mr. Azier's got the motion to approve, seconded by Mr. Kramer. Any discussion? Ms. Emerson?
Thank you. What is this truck going to be used for?
This is the Neighborhood Services Supervisor, I believe, is the person who utilizes this vehicle the most, but it will be in the Neighborhood Services group for code enforcement.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Van Buskirk?
All of these items that we've talked about, the items for the police department and now 3 items for Public Works, or 2 items for Public Works, 1 for our codes department, vital pieces of equipment for our city to have and utilize, and without those, they couldn't function, you couldn't function effectively. And again, all of those items are going to be purchased from funds from the capital sales tax fund, which, so it just lets everyone know, I think, how important the renewal of that tax and transportation sales tax is going to be to our city. The total tonight that we're going to spend out of capital sales tax is somewhere in the neighborhood of $156,000. So, you know, those kinds of items, the cost is getting more and more all the time, but we do have to have them. We do have to replace them. And without them, you certainly couldn't be effective in the job you do, and the police department couldn't be effective in the job they do. Thank you.
Well stated. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Green, Jason Green, Josh Green. What am I saying?
One of the greens.
Yeah, one of the Greens.
I was just curious how many miles are currently on the Dakota, or if you have that information readily available for you, Mr. Knoll.
The current Dakota, I don't believe it's, I think it's in the neighborhood of 60 to 70,000 miles on this particular vehicle. Currently, this vehicle is experiencing a transmission slippage, and it will be a matter of time before we have to replace the transmission. That's why we brought it forward to replace it before we spend significant sums on repairs for that vehicle.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? We do have a motion and a second. Call the vote, please.
Alderman Azier?
Yes?
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Emerson?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Alderman Jason Green?
Yes.
Alderman Josh Green?
Yes.
Alderman Van Buskirk?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes.
And I ask the clerk to perform the first reading on item number 6, please.
An ordinance authorizing and approving an agreement with Mid-America Regional Council for the acquisition of orthophotography for the city of Raytown, Missouri.
Mr. Knoll, help us understand orthophotography, please.
Orthophotography is actually aerial photographs of the entire city. This is a project that's undertaken by the MARC GIS department. And aerial photography is very helpful in enforcement of codes and also for engineering purposes, where we can simply identify structures, roadways, driveways, trees, just various items. It's very helpful having an updated aerial photo of the city so you can see how things have changed. It comes in handy when you're reviewing development proposals. You can actually see how close maybe a neighboring house is or how far away from a road they are. Various items. It's just very helpful to us in the past. And we've started purchasing these items in the past. We got off the cycle of purchasing them every 2 to 4 years. And now Mark is religiously every 2 years going back with a large group of mainly all of the metropolitan counties, including Jackson County, Clay County, Cass County, Johnson County, Wyandotte County, and I think even another one in Kansas. There's a lot. Anyway, it's a $396,000 project. And for us to participate with this project and get the updated aerial photos for the city is $371.29. So we think it's an example of a very good value for the city. The amount of information that we can glean from those aerial photographs in many different fashions just makes it very worthwhile, especially for $371. And they really want us to agree to participate in this project before they move forward. That's why we bring it before the board, because it is an intergovernmental agreement, requires a bill for an intergovernmental agreement, and therefore there are 2 readings.
Okay, very good. Remind the board this is the first reading. I'm going to go to Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got a couple questions. First off, how detailed are these photos? I guess, you know, when I'm thinking of aerial photography, I'm just thinking of what I see back in the mayor's office, you know, but I mean.
You've been in my office?
Well, the one here. Now you know, yeah. I'm curious how detailed, I guess what I'm trying to get at, well, I'll tell you my two questions and we'll get to this, but I'm curious to how detailed they are and how, why this is necessary for you to do your job, for codes and such to do their job. But secondly, when was the last time we had photography such like this?
I'll take the last one first. The
Sure.
last time we did that, I believe, was in 2010, is the aerial photography that we have. We would also like to acquire the 2012 aerial photography, not only for codes, but for Public Works when working on a improvement project. It's a great way to utilize that with the property lines that we have in our GIS, and you can identify what might be an issue. You can actually identify manhole lids. You can, the quality of the photo is so great, you can actually see the shadow from a fire hydrant. So
Okay.
it's very detailed, provides a lot of information just so that you can see, is there paving there? Generally, how wide is that paving? You can see fences. And it's just very helpful to have that aerial photography to identify features on the ground when you're considering a project, or simply trying to identify some of the manholes or storm sewer structures that we don't want to go out and use GPS to identify each and every one of them. You can actually start placing those storm sewer structures in a GIS format, utilizing the aerial photograph. You can use it to get the width of roadways, so the amount of square yards and tons for the roadway projects. So it's just very helpful in many different ways.
So it's pretty good, close, you said. You
Yes,
see
and in
manholes
terms of
such,
the
okay.
quality, each pixel represents 6 inches of ground, so that's the
Oh,
resolution.
okay. All right, that's
So,
kind of what I was getting at. All right.
yeah, it's very detailed and very effective. I'd be happy to show it to you on GIS. So,
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Mr. Kramer.
When you entertained the idea of codes enforcement by these pictures, I mean, how in depth, or is that something Mr. Benson would have to answer?
I know a lot of the times it's utilized for gravel driveways that have been extended outside the boundaries of the regulations. So that helps address it, and he can identify other areas that he utilizes it in.
Well, and my question, because of privacy issues and having gone out on complaints, when you say you've got a privacy fence, you can't just go up and reach over and take a picture. You have to have access from a neighbor's yard or something like that, looking through their window. I mean, is this going to improve our accessibility? I can think of a couple different places where we got backyards that are full of stuff, but they're safe because of a privacy fence and neighbors don't want to get involved. Are we going to take it to that level?
No, on the aerials, we don't use it for that purpose. It doesn't really allow us to use it for that purpose. It's more on code enforcement, it's more limited to property owners who say they have had a driveway, a gravel driveway, for instance, on their property for years, since whatever date. And as we update the aerial photos, like what's proposed tonight, we still have the old ones we can rely on, go back to, and it actually gives us a chronology. We can start looking to see, has the driveway actually been there, and has it been maintained over those years? And that's just one example. The codes part that Andy was referring to, I think, or at least in part, is more enforcement of development codes, our zoning codes, things like that. We frequently get people that come in and they want to add on to a driveway, and we can pull up the aerial photo with the property lines, and we can see where their existing driveway is. They can just show us, here's where I'm wanting to add on the driveway, or build this shed, or build this house onto the house, or whatever it may be. Well, today we met with some realtors or developers on a potential project here in town. We used the aerial photos to look at the property, the street right-of-way widths, the utility, the sewer lines, all that stuff that Andy talked about, and in a context of codes and development codes in that regard.
Okay, so you're not talking property maintenance codes then?
Sometimes, but on a much more, excuse me, a much more limited basis to like the driveways as an example. And I'm sure there's other examples as well. I'm just not thinking of
Well,
those.
if we're able to utilize them on driveways, why not be proactive in property maintenance issues where you got junk, trash, and debris in a backyard, or is it just not admissible in court?
It's a snapshot. It's like you take a picture today and that picture's there until the next picture taken where, yeah, we can see if junk, trash, debris is there today, but we don't know when it got there. We don't know when it will be gone or if it's the same junk and trash.
But if you've got a current picture, and maybe it's not admissible in court, because I'm not a fan
Yeah.
of Big Brother looking into every
Right.
aspect of my life, but if you've got an issue with a yard, I would hope if we had a tool in place to greater enforce that type of stuff, we would be able to use it. I don't know, or maybe that system doesn't tie into your department the way it does in with Mr. Knowles, or?
We use it on historical perspectives of, in 2014, 2012, 2010, so on, to go back and see if was the problem there in 2010. Oh, no, it doesn't show it.
Sure.
But in 2014 it was, so then we know. And in that sense, yes, it does help us in court or other places.
Okay, thank you.
Or other ways.
Mr. Azer's next, then down to Mr. Ertz.
Just so I clarify, so we already have a history and good records of aerial photos of Raytown that we've been using. And so all we're really doing here is upgrading current pictures?
Correct. We're tracking. It helps identify where there's been changes to property. And sometimes the resolution just continues to get better and better, and the quality of the photos get better.
So we already have what did we use to take pictures with before? I know, like I said before, we already have a current record of these aerial photos that go back really quite a ways. Did we take those pictures ourselves?
No, this is performed by an airplane, I believe at 2,000 or 3,000 feet, and they take that elevation. I forget exact elevation where they fly it at, but it's taken by an airplane.
All right, so we're going to purchase the camera and take it ourselves?
No, we're participating. It's actually $396,000 to take the pictures of all of the area that's wanted, and our portion of that is $371.
Oh, okay, I understand. Cool, that's all I really want to know. It's just mainly just an upgrade.
Yes.
Just for the current.
Right, it's information so we can make
Right.
good decisions.
Thank you.
Mr. Ertz.
I just think that's an awesome price considering the amount of information you're going to have. I know it's utilized when you're planning your sewer projects in order for our engineers to decide routes. And I believe we also use this for, say if there's a group home, so that we can send notifications to a distance around a certain address. I believe, isn't this where we receive the information on distances for different types of businesses that have restrictions on how close they can be with each other. So glad you're doing it, and I assume this will be met at the next meeting.
That's the plan. Mr. Mock, you're next, and then back to Ms. Emerson. No, sir, Mr. Van Buskirk, maybe it was. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I understand from the ones we had back in 2006 to 2010, the number of sunbathers went up, and backyards went up 20%. Was that correct? That was a joke. I think the the amount of this sounds like a real bargain for us. I am curious as to, I know there are a number of entities involved in this. Is our share equal with everyone's, or is it proportionate to the size that's being photographed of the landmass?
Your second one is correct. It's proportionate to the size of the area.
Very
So
good.
we pay for just our square miles compared to the square miles of the entire project.
Sounds like a bargain to me.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Ms. Emerson.
Thank you. Who did the survey before the aerial photography?
I do not remember do you want the company that did the aerial photography, or? Mark has led it in the past, to my knowledge. I'm not certain of the company that's actually performed the aerial photography services.
Okay. Well, my concern is that this information will be shared with NGA. And on their website, it says it's a unique combination of an intelligence agency and combat support agency. It is a world leader in timely, relevant, accurate, and actionable geo intelligence. And it enables the U.S. intelligence community and the Department of Defense to fulfill the President's national security priorities to protect the nation. I have a problem with that they would be able to have access to that, especially when you have about 19% of the people in the United States that don't trust the government anyway. And I'm not against having it done. I am against sharing it with certain entities. If you remember back in June of 2012, when St. Louis had tanks from Maryland going down their streets. And I think that was one of the things, we could have that here in Raytown. And I'm concerned about that. I'm not against the aerial thing to help you, but I am against it sharing with everybody else. I think that's an invasion of privacy for the citizens of Raytown, and they should have a say in whether they want that done or not. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Green.
Gentlemen, I just wanted to say that I know that with some initiatives and stuff I've brought you in the past, that WebGIS has helped severely in those, especially when it comes to utilities or property lines and stuff like that. It's proven to be a very valuable asset in the past. I, like others on this board, do have concerns over privacy matters. That being said, I feel like that the federal government might already be able to, access a satellite and look anywhere they want already. That being said, I don't think that this is something that is going to be a severe infringement upon privacy, and I feel like that it's something that will overall be very beneficial for both your teams in managing your departments and overall making Raytown a better community. Do we already have a motion?
We don't need one. It's first reading. Oh, yeah, that's right. My apologies. No, that's fine. Any other questions or comments tonight, as this is the first reading? We'll see it again in the following weeks. Mr. Van Buskirk?
Well, I did notice that it does state on number 7 that ownership, access, and distribution of orthos, each participating agency will have ownership within their jurisdictional boundaries, and for areas outside their boundaries, for which they have also agreed to share cost with overlapping jurisdictions. So is that, how does that apply to what Ms. Emerson was talking about in item 8?
That will allow us to share the information with consultants that are working for us and share it with other people for city-related items, so that we don't have to continue to pay for that information if we utilize it in a different fashion, I guess is a good way to put it. It's basically, it just allows you to share it with other people without paying, or other design firms, or for other purposes you may not have thought about at the beginning, without having to pay another fee for that one instance.
Will we make that determination, or someone else make that determination for us?
It'll actually be available not only from us, but from the county, and there's many different levels you could utilize this same information. So we don't solely control who can access this information at all. So you can get it through the county, you can get it through Mark, you could get it through the USGS. There's quite a few different areas where you can access information similar to that. Typically, all we do is at the counter, if somebody comes in and has a question about their property, we access the GIS information. One of the layers is the aerial photography and it helps answer some of their questions. And we may print it out for them, but that's the extent of what we do for the most part. I can see where we might utilize it with engineering firms for location of storm sewer, sanitary sewer, items such as that, but that's about what I would anticipate utilizing it.
Do we utilize Google Earth at all for satellite?
Yes, we utilize Google Earth quite a bit, Google
Images.
Street View. We utilize those things quite a bit.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Mr. Azier?
Yeah, just a quick question. I wouldn't think that this information would fall outside of the sunshine law. If we purchase it, it becomes city property, and it's on paper, anybody could come in and access it if they wanted to look at it. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Green?
Just one final thought here. Reading through this again, I realize that since Jackson County is taking part in this already, they, I'm assuming, are going to receive maps of our area already since we are in Jackson County. So, I mean, wouldn't you say, or I mean, at least in my head, I'm thinking that our $371 here is essentially they're taking the pictures already. We're just purchasing access to our maps. Is that
That's a good way of
correct
putting it,
assumption?
yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was a correct assumption.
Yeah, this project will go forward with or without our participation.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm going to dispense with any further discussion on item number 6, as it is just the first reading, and we'll see it on a future meeting agenda here. Move to item number 7, please, the first reading, please.
An ordinance granting Kansas City Power and Light Company its successors and assigns a franchise and authorization to construct, operate, and maintain all appropriate facilities for carrying on a light, heat, and power business, granting the right to use the streets, alleys, and all other public places of the city within the present or future certificated service territory of the company, therefore, and prescribing the terms and conditions of such authorization.
Mr. Lothar, anything you'd like to add to this, sir?
I think that actually the first reading covered almost everything. I'd just like to point out that this is a renewal of an existing franchise agreement. Anybody who operates in our right-of-way that provides a utility has a franchise agreement with us. This one traditionally renews at 20-year increments, but they've asked to make this just a 7-year increment because they also have another franchise with another company, and they're trying to get them to coincide with each other. So this one is the only difference between this and the last one that we had with them is the 7 years versus the 20 years they asked for before.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Lothar? Mr. Van Buskirk?
Are there specific fees involved with this, or is it just relative to allowing them to operate and conditions related to, you know, things that they may do or not do in our community?
The fees that we establish for in this case, the electric providers, are done via ordinance. Another ordinance that we have that establishes those fees for all electric providers. So this ordinance basically is an agreement between us and them to allow them to work within the right-of-ways, certain service requirements, and when they extend services and so on.
And that was a 20-year agreement the last time and 7 years this time, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Mr. Green?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
We're on the
This
first,
is a first reading.
I thought it was a second reading. Didn't we go over this last time?
I don't think so.
Then, okay, apparently I'm just.
But we'll keep you in mind for the next meeting.
I'm sorry, last meeting, folks, I was on some Dayquil.
That's right, you were under cold medication the last time I remember, so. But I appreciate it. We'll try to remember you for next time. Okay, having a little fun tonight. Any other questions or comments on item number 7?
I would just point out that this one will come back on the 15th because there is a 30-day period that it has to be available to the public. That 30 days started when the agenda packet went out, so this won't be on the April 1st agenda for its second reading. It'll be on April 15th.
All right, my memory may not let me remember that you have that motion coming, so remind me, please. All right. All right, if there's no further discussion on item number 7, which is a first reading at this time, we'll dispense with the business. Tonight's meeting, and Mr. Green, since I may miss you the next time, would you like to offer the motion to adjourn, sir?
So moved.
And Ms. Emerson? Ms. Emerson's got the second. Been made and seconded to adjourn tonight's meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? You're on your own. Thank you.